Team Total Thursday, stat of the day. We're NBA heavy on props, and we're going to talk about the NHL as well. And then we're going to do a little segment about Bankroll Strategies, when to lay off plays. We're going to talk about hot streaks. Welcome to the Road to Millions, Andy and Steve, WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. Got a lot to get to. As you know, we always start with some positive vibes from the audience. Shout out to everyone that joined us. Guys, email us. Email me if you want to come on the show and talk about the Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame. Greg says, love how you found this. Found what? I'm confused. Vegas D is always in the house. Love the show. Rich points out we were 8-1 on props last week. Yeah, it was a good week for the show there. And Ken, Unbreakable Sports Record, will 50.4 points per game a single season. Ken, email me, bumprunsports@gmail.com if you want to come on and talk about that one. Pretty sure that'll be fast-tracked in there. So thanks, everybody, for joining us yesterday, and thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Steve, let's jump with a quick little stat of the day. Our guy, Russell Westbrook, pretty impressive what he's doing here, huh?
Yeah, so he leads the NBA in all-time triple-doubles, and he only needs two more to become the first player in history with 200. What I found was interesting is that it would be more than 23 teams have in their entire history, those 200 triple-doubles. Now, he hasn't recorded one in a while, and he hasn't recorded one, I think, all season, but I could see down the stretch here maybe with a game where Kawhi or Paul George takes the night off and he gets some extra minutes, gets a little bit of extra run, and with that other guy on the court, he's able to pick up those the assists and points necessary, the rebounds, all three across the board. But he's going to get there eventually. I'm sure it's on his radar, but he already has the all-time record.
That's pretty amazing, man. Russell Westbrook, and the unsung hero of the Clippers by saying, I don't need to play as many minutes. So shout out to him. Who would have thought Russell Westbrook would have been the one to put the ego to the side and say, let's try and get some wins. So very impressive stuff from Russell Westbrook. All right, let's get to our team totals. We're doing all NBA team totals today. NBA is back. So Steve is going to go with the Nets under, the Jazz over. I'm going to go with the Magic over and the Pacers under. Steve, I'll let you go first. Nets under 115.5. They face the Raptors. Why'd you single this one out?
So this is a team that doesn't have a lot of continuity right now. They just fired their head coach on Monday, only to replace him with an interim head coach yesterday. Cam Thomas actually thought that it was a prank that they were playing on him when he heard that they fired Jacques Vaughn. At the same time, he did want to play for Ollie in the UConn program. He wanted to go to that program and play there. So it's tough to see how that'll pan out with him, but regardless, coming into the break, they scored 110 or less in 5 of their last 6 games, under 100 in 3 of those 6 games. This is a series that's kind of trended towards the under, 5-1 to the under when these teams go head-to-head. They're only 17th and 23rd in pace. They're on the road in Toronto, going north of the border, so it's a tough road spot for them, a team that's already struggling on offense, and now with the new head coach, first game back off the break, I'll take the under here at 115.5.
All right, going the Nets under. I'll start with my first play. It's the Magic over 104.5. I know they're playing the Cleveland Cavaliers. I know the Cleveland Cavaliers are great on defense. They're number 1 over the last 15 games. But come on, Steve, 104.5 when your entire team's rested. I mean, come on. It just feels like this is way too much respect for the Cleveland defense. And listen, I'm certainly not saying the Magic are going to put up 130, but this is a Magic team that scored 118, 113, 114, 127 going into the break. They had some clunkers. They scored 95. They just had a horrible night against Miami, but 111, 108, 108. I know they do it against bad teams. They struggled against Cleveland last time. They had a really bad game against Cleveland, and they scored 99 points. That's going to be the worst that they play against a team, and they still got 99. You have your full roster. You have everyone that's, rested, and this line is It's not as crazy. They would have to just have a very abnormal night shooting. If they just hit their averages, they're going to go over. So this is more of just a big reaction to my reacting to the 104.5 on a team coming off of a big break. So I'll take the Magic over 104.5. You're going Jazz over 119.5. What do you like about the Utah Jazz?
So they're playing at home, and they're fighting for a play-in spot. Down the stretch here in these final 27 games, playing a Charlotte team that really has nothing left to play for. They already scored 134 in Charlotte in the first head-to-head meeting this season, and the Hornets ranked 24th in scoring defense, allowing 120 plus points per game. Jazz eighth in pace of play, and being at home, I think they'll be dictated. The Hornets are 22nd in pace, but Jazz at eighth in pace at home, I think they dictate. Especially they're double digit favorites as well, which I don't quite agree with that. I think that it'll be a little closer than that. I don't the way the Jazz have played defensively. I really wouldn't take them as double digits against favorites against anybody really. But as far as scoring goes, against Charlotte at home. Only thing I'd worry about here is rust, but other than that, give me the over 119.5.
All right, so Steve's locking in the Jazz over. Listen, taking an under on the Pacers is always nerve-wracking. Taking an under against the Detroit Pistons is nerve-wracking, but I'm playing the number here, Steve. This just feels like a huge number. 130? So,
Yeah.
I look at the Pacers, 127 in a big game against Toronto, still didn't get over this total. 102 against Charlotte, 125 against the Knicks, 109 against the Warriors. I mean, the only game they've really gone over this total recently is Houston, and that was a 132-129 game, so very, very high scoring. They don't go over this total a whole lot, and I actually do worry about a little bit of rust from Halliburton coming off of. I mean, this was his weekend. I mean, my gosh, the guy shined. He hits the half court buzzer beater, or not buzzer beater, but the half court shot for the tiebreaker in the skills competition, and lights it up in the All-Star game. Just not sure the Pacers are going to be firing on all cylinders. And Steve, everything has to go right to get to 130 points. Everything. And I know the Pistons are more than capable of blowing it on defense and giving it up, but just feels like a number that's way too big here. I think there could be a little bit of rust from the Pacers team. So I will take the under 129.5 here. So that's I don't know, man. I'm taking it over against the number one defense, and I'm taking
Yeah.
taking it under
But
against the worst defense.
I get it though. It's about the numbers though. Those are key numbers. Though the 104 being so low and the 129 being so high, and you could see the Pacers too maybe building a big lead and kind of coasting in the down the stretch, and like you said, the Pistons can give up that many easily, but yeah, coming off the first game off the break, 130 seems like a tall task.
That's a big one. So, quick little recap for team total Thursday. Steve's going Nets under 115.5, Jazz over 119.5. I will take a look at the Magic over 104.5, and the Pacers under 129.5. Did the stat of the day. We're going to get into NBA and NHL plays. It's half price, guys. Come on, Andy. You got to fix the graphics here, buddy. Steve, it's half price Thursday, so everything at Sports Memo and WagerTalk is half price. So we have a 5% UFC play that is up, and 4% lacrosse play that is up. We're on a 17-6 all sport run. Lacrosse play is tomorrow, and the UFC play is obviously on Saturday. So you can grab those though; they're half price today. Steve, what do you have up at Sports Memo?
I have a 5% NBA play locked and loaded for tonight. 8-3 hoops run, running hot in hoops right now. Cashed my last 3 plays overall in the last 2 nights, and number one over at Sports Memo in the last 10 days across all sports. So running hot right now, firing away my first 5% play since it's my second 5% play of the month, and I've cashed
Nice.
I've cashed my last 3 of them. So I've really picked my spots with it. And I got one that I really like tonight, so I'm firing away.
All right, so check out Half Price Thursday. Those plays are half price up until midnight tonight. So go ahead and grab those, and we're going to talk some bankroll strategies here a little bit and how that relates to some of these plays. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about some plays that we have going today. Do you want to start in the NHL here?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I'll go first here in the NHL. A couple of shots on goal. I talked about Heischer. They keep putting 2.5. The guy had 5 last game against Washington. A little bit of a different deal here because Washington 21 in shots on goal allowed, the Rangers 6th. So, he's on a nice little streak. There's no doubt about it, but this is by far his longest streak of the season going over, so I imagine there's going to be regression at some point. Curious price, though. It's minus 125. Normally when you see these guys on streaks, you got to believe that it's, it's going to be like much higher, like minus 150. So I feel like the books are getting ready for this to regress back. So I would be pretty nervous about taking Heischer over. That being said, sit at 7 games in a row, so that might be a shots on goal prop. I don't know. Tough matchup. Line's a little curious. So what do you like in NHL?
I have a shot on goal prop over as well tonight for a Braden Point from the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's sitting here at 2.5, negative 130 or so, depending on where you look. But he's cleared this in 7 of his last 9 games. Has a nice matchup here against the Capitals, who allowed the 22nd in shots allowed on goal. He didn't get there in his last game, fell just short with 2. But at home tonight against this Capitals team, I feel like he's on a hot stretch recently, hitting 4 in 3 of those last 9 games as well. So give me the over on Point here.
All right, Braden Point going over his shots on goal. I was gonna look at some points here. I'm not playing anything in the NHL again. We'll get to the betting strategies coming up here. There's a couple guys here. I've been writing Tom Wilson under his points. He's been pretty bad recently. Yeah, but he's not this bad. He doesn't go on this many streaks, and you get a great matchup against Tampa Bay, who gives up a lot of goals. So, I don't know. The price is sneaking up. It's minus 165. So, all access clients, I've been writing Tom Wilson. I just don't think today is the day to fire away on that. So, we've got some players that are on some pretty good streaks with points, but there was one I was going to point out. So, I had talked about. Let's see, where is he? I'll pull up the game. Pittsburgh. I had talked about really hitting on Jake Gensel to go over or to go under 1.5 points, but that line just went all the way up to minus 245. So now I'm looking at Sidney Crosby. They keep putting his line at 1.5, and you look at it, he just doesn't hit it that often. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the last 30. He's on a pretty nice streak of going under. Pittsburgh just doesn't score a lot. Of course, they're playing Montreal, who is now one of the worst teams, if not the worst, at giving up goals. Their defense is absolutely terrible. Their goaltending has not been too good. So it's just, I don't know. It's one to keep your eye on. I got to imagine if he plays a tough defense, this thing's going to be minus 190. But over and unders on the 1.5 points, it's really, really tough to hit the overs. I mean, they gotta score at least 3 or 4 goals. So can they do it against Montreal? Absolutely. But Sidney Crosby, it just falls into that category of these guys where they have the line at 1.5. I'm really interested in trying to pick my spots and find some of these guys to go under. I believe Panarin plays tonight. Yeah, here he is. I played him under for a little bit, but as you see, he had 2 games in a row, but then right back down to not having 2. So if you consistently play it, you're up on these. So just keep an eye on those, but no official client plays in NHL tonight. It's a pass. So any other NHL plays you like, Steve?
Yeah, I'm taking the night off as far as official plays as well. Cashed a nice ticket last night on Seth Jones under for his points that he've been riding him for a while now, and it's been paying off. But I have an interesting one that I think is just worth a sprinkle, just because I gave out this free play yesterday on Sports Memo, and it's an anytime goal for Auston Matthews. This guy is
Okay.
on a historic run right now, basically. He scored.
Yes, he is.
And so yesterday he had the perfect matchup because he was facing Arizona. They had given up the most shots over their last 10 games. They're one of the worst on the season. It was his hometown team. So everything lined up perfectly, and he's on the road, and that's where he's really feasted. So everything lined up perfectly, but the juice was higher, and he did get there last night. He scored a pair of goals in that one in a Toronto victory. Tonight the matchup's a lot tougher though against Vegas, but he scored now in his last 4 with a total of 9 goals in those games. 9 of his last 11 overall. And then on the road, he scored in his last 5, 8 of his last 9, and 9 of his last 13. So he's just feasting on the road. With the juice being down, close to even money at this point, Vegas is a tough opponent, but you got to consider him again tonight. I wish I would have played him last night. I was kind of kicking myself for not. It's tough to. I'm more looking at shots and goal and points generally. I had some success with with assists on Matthew Tkachuk, but Matthews is worth a look tonight just based on this run that he's on.
Nice. He really is on a historic pace. You got to wonder if we're going to be talking about him on the Unbreakable Sports Record if he if he keeps this thing.
Yeah, and
It's really wild, isn't it?
it goes without saying, he leads the NHL in goals overall for the season, and a lot of it's backed on this recent run, especially on the road. I mean, 9 goals in his last 4 games overall. He puts 2 in last night. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's a tougher matchup against Vegas, but I'd still look at him just based on the money as well. It's just close to even spread, close to even juice.
Let's talk a little NBA. What's the first one you want to go over?
I got a couple of them. I was looking at D'Angelo Russell over 10.5 rebounds plus assists tonight. So LeBron's out tonight, and Russell's numbers, he gets so many more rebound opportunities and assist chances when LeBron isn't in the lineup. Obviously, he's went over in all 7 games. This number 10.5. He's went over 7 for 7 without LeBron James playing. He's averaging 14.2 rebounds plus assists in those 7 games, with 15.9 potential assists, 8.4 potential rebounds. On top of that, no Christian Wood, no Vanderbilt tonight. A couple of guys that can pick up some rebounds, so he should be looking at getting some extra rebounds. His assist chances, his assist chances go up by 4% without LeBron on the court. So look for him to feed Anthony Davis tonight to pick up these assists and grab some rebounds to clear the total of 10.5. I see it's 11.5 there on that one, but you can still get it at 10.5 with a little bit of juice over at DK.
Yeah, I noticed this PRA. It's interesting. You went after the rebounds and assists. Of all the people that benefit when LeBron is out, it really does seem like it's D'Angelo Russell. Of all people,
Yeah.
like all the stats are fairly similar, but Russell's like, and I wonder if it's like LeBron's not there to reel his selfish ass in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so hogging the ball. So, all right, that one is for D'Angelo Russell. I was looking at Amir Coffey and Aaron Wiggins. I talked about Aaron Wiggins before the All-Star break. They keep putting his made 3-pointer at half, and he keeps making one every game. He just always seems to make one of them, and it's still at minus 140. He doesn't take a ton of shots, but it just feels like he always seems to make one. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13 in a row that he's making one, and the books are still at minus 140. So, Oklahoma City. Listen, the Clippers are great on defense. I almost went with the Magic under their total with a rested Clippers team, but if you only giving me one 3-pointer I have to make, that's something I'm going to keep my eye on. And then Amir Coffey, it's the exact same way. He's in the same game, and this guy just keeps hitting one. Although he's been making 2 over half of the time on this little run that he's on, and you can get that at minus 145. So I love these low numbers where you only need to make one. Isn't it great when it cashes like 2 minutes into the game when you just get one of them?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was Matthews last night. He scored in the goal in like 5 minutes into the game. Just done. It's locked up. Free
yeah.
play, but still nice to hit it.
What's another one you wanted to go over?
So I'm looking at another guy, Brandon Ingram, his under for his assist tonight, and again, it's based on who's on the court, who's not on the court. So with Zion and CJ McCollum on the court, he's fallen short of this 6.5 assist total in 2/3 of his games on the year, including, and that trend just is continues recently as well. 10 of his last 15 games, and that includes he's also fallen short in all three head-to-head games against the Houston Rockets. They allow the fourth fewest assists per game overall. So look for he doesn't get the ball as much. He doesn't get the ball to pass quite as much when CJ and Zion are out there. Obviously, a little bit less usage. So look towards Ingram tonight. It's a play I really like a lot. Under 6.5 assists.
Like it, like it. I was looking at a points play here. Was looking at taking an under here on. It's actually the same game here. Valanciunas. Just not getting a ton of points, and like you said, there's just so many weapons. And Houston's defense is actually pretty good. They're actually pretty decent against center. So I don't know. I was looking at Valanciunas 11.5. The guy's gone over one time in the last 6 games. And yeah, it's kind of like what you said. Like the Pelicans, when they're healthy, they're just loaded. And some of these totals just end up not going over just because there's too many guys. And if they're involved at all in a blowout, they're sitting all these guys. And Valanciunas doesn't play a whole lot of minutes anyways. So I was looking at under on Valanciunas. What was another play you were interested in?
So this is one I'm looking at Jaden Ivy tonight for his points over. So this is one that is I'm not going to necessarily play, but it's just a lot of interesting things here. It's sitting at it was 17.5 earlier. Now I believe it's up to 18.5. But obviously the Pacers can give up points by the boatload. They've allowed the second most points to opposing shooting guards over the last 30 games, 30 days. But here's the thing: is that him and Mathurin got into a little like they were jawing at each other during the rookie game. So they had a little bit of seemed to have a little bit of a beef on their hands, and they were drafted 5th and 6th overall. So I guess they had a lot of like head-to-head competition in like before they were drafted as well. So I just think we get a motivated Ivy tonight. He's been cold recently coming into the break though. So that's the one thing. Well, two things scare me. That I won't get to the window with it because he was cold coming into the break, and also the potential of a Pacers blowout tonight. When the spread is this high, I just don't take overs on double-digit games anymore at all in the NBA. But I just
Yeah,
figured it was worth talking about just because of the motivational factor here. I think he's going to be shooting the ball a ton. So if he shoots accurately, he probably will go over tonight.
nice, nice. All right, that was really all I had to look at. Were there any other plays you liked?
And my favorite one of the bunches was Ingram and Russell though. Those Ingram and Russell
Okay,
plays, I could get to the window behind those though.
love it, love it. There's your NBA and NHL plays. So, real quick, strategies to build bankrolls. When to lay off plays. I ran into this last night, actually. So, Road to Millions, our bankroll reset day is Friday. We are up, I believe, 10 units. And Corbin and I were talking last night, and we're kind of on one of those little bit unsustainable short streaks where was it 17-6? And Dan had a nice hit in lacrosse yesterday. So we could have put up a play last night. I could have put out all those winning streaks and put it up and probably sold some plays. But there wasn't a ton of plays on the board that I really loved. And hockey's been hitting this week 3-0 in the last 3 plays. And so we just thought it was a really good opportunity to lay off and take the profits. And we're not going to have any plays today, even though it's darts day. Corbin's traveling, and there was just darts plays that we kind of liked. We just thought, when you're up kind of around this 8 to 10 units mark, the risk versus the reward just isn't quite there. We put in a play, and if it loses, then you drop down to 6 or 7 units, and if you win, you just gain 1 unit. So we just said, you know what, we're going to be really happy with our week, and we're going to do Bankroll Reset Day tomorrow based on the units that we've already made. We've got a lacrosse play that goes off midday tomorrow, and then we're setting up for Saturday. Saturday is a big, big day. We're going to have NHL. We're going to have our 5% play. So we just thought, this is the time to lay off. This is when you lay off a plays, is when you're coming off of a hot streak and you're thinking, it's probably not sustainable over the next couple days. So let's just lay off. And it's really, really tough. It's counterintuitive because you think, man, I can't miss. Why not fire off a bunch of plays? Well, this is when to lay off plays. When you're going on a really bad losing streak, yeah, you want to pull back the volume a little bit, but you also have to understand that is not sustainable. And when you see someone that's on a really, really bad losing streak, it's probably getting ready to turn. Same as on a really, really big hot streak. I don't mean like long term, if you have a great year, that things are going to regress, but short term, going 17-6, that winning percentage is tough to keep up. In fact, it's impossible to keep up. There's no way you could keep that up. If you would keep that up over the next 2 years, you'd never work a day in your life. So this has just been, it was a little bit tough because there was a couple plays I liked, didn't love. There's some plays that I liked tonight, but we just thought, now's the perfect time. Today would be the couple of days where we could sustain some losses and eat away at those profits, and that's not what we're, in the mode of. Our mode is long term, and our mode is trying to make as much profits over the course of the year, even though it may cost us some sales in the short term. So we're happy to lay off because we're having such a great week, and we're going to get back after it Friday. So all access clients, it's a pass for today, so that extends your pass for another day. And just make sure you go grab that 5% UFC play and grab that lacrosse play. Those have been sports that we've been running really hot in. So grab those, and we'll basically start over our new week on Friday and hopefully get to our 3%. But yeah, when you're going on a really, really big hot streak, I know you just, I want to keep firing. I can't miss. I can't miss. I can't lose. That's what everyone else does. And that's why a lot of people get into trouble. So when you're looking at things like that, just try and think what's counterintuitive. What are some things I could do that losing bettors do all the time? Well, when they make a bunch, then they go all in and then they give away all their profits. So, the bankroll strategy for this week is we had a great start to the week, we had a great middle to the week, and there's no reason to push it. So we're gonna keep our profits, lock them in, and be really really happy with that 8 to 10 unit week. So. We'll be doing Bankroll Reset Day tomorrow, so we'll go over all the exact numbers and got a couple other things to talk about for all access clients and long-term clients tomorrow. So, all right, Steve, you want to tell everyone one more time what you have up, where we can find you at?
Yeah, I have a 5% NBA play locked and loaded for tonight over at Sports Memo. It's a half price day today, so it's only $7.50. And like I said, I've been on a nice run in hoops, 8-3. Hoops run #1 the last 10 days across all sports over at Sports Memo. And, I've been just riding pretty well over the past 10, 15 days now. Was on a little bit of a cold streak before that, but I've righted the ship, and I'm pretty confident that I got some good strategies to keep it rolling. And like just piggybacking off what you guys said, the run you guys have been on has just been insane. But let's face it, 17-6 is unsustainable for anybody. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I agree with that. It's the perfect time to pull back, is right at the end of the week like that, when you already got what you need. You just reset for the next week. It's pretty smart. It's a pretty smart strategy. And I would add to it too that the time to jump off a streak, if you're riding a trend or a streak, we've always talked about this, when that number jumps, if you're playing a guy over 2.5 shots on goal, and you've played it 5, 6, 7 games in a row, and it jumps to 3.5, that's the time to bail on that play. In I think both of our opinions at this point.
Yeah, if Nico Hischier from the Devils, if he keeps going over 2.5, they're going to bump it to 3.5, and you just fire away on the under. It's the same with LeBron 3-pointers. He's been stuck at 1.5. He keeps going over. Second they move it to 2.5. You just come back and take the under. So, yeah, you got to figure out these streaks and how to make them work to your advantage. So, all right, guys, take advantage of Half Price Thursday. We got lots of big plays that are up on a really, really good streak. We're up 91 units in 2023. We are about on that same pace right now. I believe we're 10 to 12 units for 2024 WagerTalk units. So looking forward to trying to beat that record. That would make for an amazing year. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Good luck on all your plays. I'll be back tomorrow to do a bankroll reset day, get everyone ready for the weekend. Big weekend. Starting tomorrow midday, lacrosse kicks off, and then it's NHL, UFC, PFL. Big weekend. So we'll get you all ready for tomorrow. Good luck in your plays. We'll see everyone tomorrow on the road to millions.
Good luck.